The most common question I get asked when someone is charged with a DWI is whether or not they should take the test. And that means, should they take the breathalyzer test? What most people don't realize is there are a number of tests that you can refuse to take. And let's start from the first moment that the police officer pulls you over. If you've been drinking and you believe that you are impaired or intoxicated, you do not have to answer any questions about how much you had to drink or where you were drinking. You should always provide the officer with your license, your registration, and your insurance. But once he starts asking you questions about your alcohol consumption, you can say, "Officer, I'm not going to answer those questions." The next area where most people don't realize they can refuse the tests are the field sobriety tests, or the FSTs. Those are the tests when the officer has gotten you out of the vehicle and wants you to perform certain field sobriety tests on the side of the road. You are under no obligation to take any of those tests. You can refuse each and every one of those without penalty. This will prevent the officer from gathering evidence that may be harmful to your case. The most common area of confusion is whether or not you should take the Alka-Sensor test, which is on the side of the road. You do not have to take the Alka-Sensor test. It is a traffic infraction for not taking that test. However, it is not a criminal offense to refuse the Alka-Sensor test. Once you're back at the police station is where you are given the breathalyzer or the data master. These are machines. These machines will measure your blood alcohol in your system when you blow into it. This is not an easy question to answer. I tell most people that so much of this depends on how much they had to drink, when they had the drinks, whether they had anything to eat, and whether or not they have a prior conviction for any alcohol-related offense. These factors only an experienced lawyer can answer. There is no right or wrong anymore on whether you should take the test. But please be aware, in New York State, if you refuse to take a breathalyzer test back at the station, the Department of Motor Vehicles will impose sanctions on top of any criminal conviction or non-criminal conviction you will receive. The Department of Motor Vehicle will impose a 1-year revocation of your license for a refusal. A refusal is the refusal to take a breath test. There is also a civil penalty imposed by DMV for someone who refuses the breath test. There is an administrative proceeding that you can have to fight whether or not you voluntarily refuse to take the breath test. This is given at a Department of Motor Vehicle hearing. The best course of action is to contact an experienced attorney if the police officer lets you make a phone call.